go to the layer menu in Affinity Photo and new layer. Now I want to go over here to the gradient tool. Don't have to use gradient. You don't have to use this approach tool. You could use an image. You could use some type, whatever. Just want something to be the underlying layer and design. So filters, and then down to colors, and I'm going to use halftone. And you've got a lovely dotted design there, and you can modify it in numerous ways, change the screen angle, etc. And it obviously depends on the gradient, or if it's a solid image as well. However, click apply, because I'm going to use this in the displacement. That's the key thing, the displace filter. So layer again, and new layer. Again, this could be an image, this could be something totally different. Fill it with a gradient, and I'm going to go a different direction. I'm just going to fill it. This is the second layer there. You can see the second layer, it's on top of that original halftone. So go to filters, and then down to distort and displace. By default, it doesn't do anything. So you can change the strength, you can see move that backwards, minus or positive, and the limit is 512. And it will just distort it, sort of a glass effect. It's not particularly like that. There's no smoothing particularly. You can use blurs. But load map from layers beneath. I'm not going to use this one, load map from file. And you can see what happens. You get this lovely, wonderful halftone effect very quickly using this approach. And I can modify it or go the other way. You can see as I do that, just changes it back and forth like that. Click apply. Now I can apply it again. Like all the filters in Affinity Photo, you can always repeat apply. Though the result is not so good, it just creates a little bit of sort of noise, etc. So I'm not going to do that. But what you can also do is you can, let's just deselect that one and go back to this one. Make certain you select the layer. If you don't select the layer and you're working with the other layer, that it will not work in a way you think. You can go, it's a pixel layer and it needs to be a pixel layer. Go to layer and new pattern layer from selection. So new pattern layer from selection. And now I can resize it. And you can see as I resize, you've got these obviously seams coming up. Just up here, you've got mirror option. So you can click there, mirror. And you can see the effect there. I think that's quite a nice halftone effect itself. And you can move it around, rotate it, etc. But you can use it with this. So you can go up to this one. Now I don't need this one anymore. I'm just going to remove it. Just delete that one. So let's just bring this one back. So I've got my original design. This could be an image, like I say, anything like that. And I've also got this underlying layer. Now I can go to filters, distort and displace again. And this time again, move it backwards and forwards. Nothing happens. Unfortunately, it always just defaults back to that. Load map from layers beneath. And this time you can see what happens. It's got the pattern layer. The pattern layer can be used from this. And of course, the pattern layer is live. So you can cancel. You think, oh, you know what? Don't want that one. I'm just going to change it. Now I'm just going to, without seeing it, I'm just reducing down the size. Then I can go back to that one, back to that layer, and then I go to filters, distort and displace. Again, unfortunately, of course, it loses it, forgets that. So modify the strength, load map, and you can see the effects. So you can create a variety of different effects very quickly by using pattern layers just to quickly change things. So again, cancel. However, what you can also do, and I'm just going to remove this pixel layer now. I've got this underlying design. I'm going to use this, but you can distort this design. So it's a pattern. I can go to filters, distort and deform. So I'm just going to distort it very quickly. You could use twirl or any of the other filters as well. And you can see you can distort it. Now it does end up with breaks in it, but just click there. And you can play it again if you want to see if, yeah, something like that. Well, what you can then do is you can go over here, use a different thing. Don't have to use a complete layer. You don't have to use any image or anything. You can use maybe these sort of things, like a shape. And you can use any shape. So maybe a ellipse tool. So ellipse tool, just apply that very quickly there. It's in blue. Could be any color. Could be filled with a gradient, etc. And, well, I can use it exactly. However, you need the assistant manager to make it, turn it into a rasterized layer or pixel layer. And that should be set up. It should do that by default. But if you've deselected the assistant, it will not happen. So filters and distort and displace. And it will pop up with a little assistant message. And again, you can modify the strength. Nothing seems to happen. But load map from layers beneath. Click there. And you can see the result. Ends up using exactly that design you can see underneath there. And of course you can still modify that design. So you can always go to that design and say, you know what, I don't want that one. Now with that pattern layer, I can move it around. Let's just cancel that. Oh, there it is. Deselect it, just makes it easier just to deselect and use. Now, this is always the thing. You've always got to make certain you select the actual layer. This is the trouble with multiple layers sometimes with this. You can actually use different things on different layers and you can suddenly think nothing's changing. You always have to remember to quickly look, make certain that you're actually changing this, and you can resize it, move it around, and then you can always go back. Make certain again you're on that layer, always a key thing, and then go to filters again, distort and displace. And again, strength, load map, and you can see the effect. And you can see it maps exactly nicely there, and you can see all the lines going out, all the colours. I think fairly maps fairly well anyway. Slightly differently. I'm going to apply. Or what I can also do it again, so I can always turn around and say filters, repeat displacement, and you see it applies. Now it doesn't make it really much better by doing it 1 or 2 times. I think also it's just a layer, so you can always go over here to effects, click there and say like 3D. So you can create a nice 3D effect very quickly. Just say change the radius about there. You can see that direction. You can modify that. Click apply. And you can see you've got that lovely displaced design. And of course, once you've done that, you can move it around, reposition it, duplicate it, etc. And you can do the same with type. And you also maybe decide, you know what, I don't want that sort of sharp image. What I can do, go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur. Maybe not that intense, just maybe, just so you can see the thing, just see all those dots, click apply. And then you can go say to type. So type, just type something, not very original with the type, just the word type or text, using the text tool. And you can see the design there. Exactly the same as before. Go over here to filters and then down to distort and then displace. Again, strength doesn't make any difference until you load map from layers beneath. And you can see straight away what happens. Distorts the type very quickly and you can again change that. Now the effect over here of course is because of the white, it's not changing anything at all. But over here obviously you've got where you've got the actual design, you can see the result of that applied distortion. Click apply. Well, hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.